Okay, I'm just giving an example so that you can think something on this line to talk about, because really there is a lot of the environment. Okay, for example, someone else, the topic this we discussed at the time we wrote costs of global land use, industrial agriculture, and the benefit of sustainable agriculture. This is, for example, another talk. I'll just give you an example so that you can think about something here. Okay. Other person, for example, talk about what you call decline in a bee populations, threaten human and environmental sustainability, and so on. Okay. Other person, for example, talk about the global destruction of the coral reefs. Okay, and what is being done to restore them. Okay. Other person, for example, which is seems also like this one here, okay, talk about impacts of climate change on human health in relation to the spread and the transmission of vector-borne diseases, okay, and so on. Basically, what I'm calling, okay, other topic, for example, consequences of acidification on the environment. So basically, these are, I'm just to give you an example, some of the, what you call, the topics, so you can think about the topic. And I'm going to send you an email, and maybe I will make a meeting either maybe Monday afternoon or Friday afternoon. I will send you an email for that. And basically we'll meet maybe no more than an hour, and just to see if anybody, what you call, took a topic. And also I will mention at the time, basically, what are the stages we'll take. And then maybe after that, maybe we'll see what is the speed to put some points, because the next meeting after that, then everybody will talk maybe for a few minutes what they are going to talk about, the topics and how they're going to reach about it. Is that clear? Okay. So as we've done this, then we continue with our lecture. Okay. I think in the last lecture, thanks for reminding me, that we talk about, the title was the ecological footprint. And the last thing I think we mentioned in this regard, in other words, a human use of natural resources was approximately 50% higher than Earth's, what you call, capacity to replace them. So as a result, it took 1.5 years for Earth to replace the resources consumed and to absorb the carbon dioxide emission of the global population in just 1 year. Okay, so this is what already we mentioned last lecture. I'm going to continue after that. Okay, now, according to the 2012, just to make sure that everybody see this here. According to the 2012 Living Planet report, okay, Living Planet report, okay, our ecological overdraft will rise to a bit over over 100%. Okay, and by 2030, okay, and 30, okay, to nearly, okay, 200%, sorry, yeah, 10%, okay, nearly by 200%. So to continue after that, if this we continue with the same what you call at that point, if a present trends with the present trends and continue, okay, the productive capacity in this case we deal with capacity, okay, of 3 Earths. Okay, of 3 Earths will be needed okay, to meet our single Earth's human demand. Okay, to meet our single Earth human demands. Okay, in just demand. Now this is just to give us an idea about it. Now also to mention the other point, of course, that we can calculate what you call this ecological footprint. As a matter of fact, even can calculate it for individuals and also for countries and so on. To mention this point here, also that ecological footprints ecological footprints can also be calculated for individuals and countries. Okay. Now, the other point to mention, of course, the reason for doing this, because that's very important. Basically, we can calculate what you call our impact on the Earth. Now, calculations of a human's ecological footprints. Calculation, or calculations of a human's ecological footprint demonstrate that concerns over our impact on the environment are justified. Now, of course, to mention in the last point in this regard, of course, the growing impact of human the growing impact of a human on the environment of course, as you already know, presents one of the greatest Okay. Challenges. Okay. Ever faced. Okay. By our species. Okay. Well, I guess, of course, all this is very clear and very easily understood. Okay. Now, after we finish this point, okay, now I'm going to talk about basically that because really dealing with the environment also depend a lot on the ethics, and there are, of course, there are many different point of view, and basically that is the point we're going to discuss now. So we're going to deal now with this title or subtitle, still with this one, called Environmental Ethics. Okay, environmental ethics extends, okay, moral responsibilities. Okay, to the environment. Okay. Of course, what I want to mention here, just please, if you wanted any question or anything, don't hesitate to stop me and we ask and we discuss. Okay. Now, basically, there are, it looked to me, according to the world views, there are three point of views, which is people or general society. They look to the earth and the resources from their own point of view. So with this one, I'm going to talk about it called world views. Okay, now there are one point of view which is known as, we're going to discuss it, which is known as the anthropocentric. We're going to talk about that. Perspective on nature. Cool. Sorry. Perspective. Okay. On nature. Okay. That place humans. Okay, that place humans, basically what you call at the center. Okay, these basically are called, okay, anthropocentric. You follow this? This is known anthropocentric point of view here, or basically what you call in this anthropocentric, that means they put the human in the center, which is to them is the most important thing. So basically that's what they, or in other words, or it means human centered. And that's why sometimes you find people, they have different kind of perspective and look into the environment. Now, to talk about what is this point of view. Now, the anthropocentric perspective, okay, perspective, generally, okay, view humans okay, just to make sure that you are reading it. Okay, view humans not as a part of nature, okay, not as a part of nature, but as owner of the nature. okay, but as owner of the nature, which is basically, they look to the nature basically is present there for their services or for human services. So the nature which exists okay, for our benefits. Okay, for our benefits. And basically, it is suggested basically that people who think like that or that kind of it has the most impact on the environment. To mention this point here, it has been suggested okay, it has been suggested that anthropocentric worldview that I'm going to continue here called anthropocentric. Okay. World view, okay, or views as a matter of fact, are the cause, okay, are the cause of most environmental harm. Okay. And also going to mention in this regard, even some of those people which they think they have to protect the species, not because they want to protect the species for its own sake, but because that species may affect their own benefit. To mention this point here. However, some anthropocentric, okay, some anthropocentric, you can do it yourself here, anthropocentric philosophers, okay, have argued okay, that causing species extinction extinction, okay, that causing species extinction, okay, is wrong, okay, because it may, okay, it may lead, as I mentioned, to the harming of humans as well. Okay, so basically, this is one point of view, which is basically that could affect how they look to the environment. We have another point of view, basically, which is known as biocentric, to talk about those people who just think like this, how their approach. Now, by contrast, okay, known as the biocentric, okay, those people, a view or view emphasizes okay, emphasizes the effects okay, of actions okay, on all living organisms. Okay, on all living organism, and that's basically to mention what is their point of view here. Now, from a biocentric perspective, okay, perspective. Now, for example, cruelty. Okay, cruelty to animals. Okay, of course, the same thing also, needless destruction of a plant. Of plants, and by extension, and okay, and by sorry, and by extension, of course, it goes to the species of a species. Okay, are morally wrong. Okay, wrong, because organisms, that's their point of view. Okay, because their organisms have intrinsic value. Okay, so this is basically talk to us about the other point of view here. Okay. Then, of course, we have what you call, we talk about the anthropocentric point of view, we talk about the biocentric point of view here. And also we have, of course, the third one, which is known as the ecocentric. And this perspective here, of course, this group of the ecocentric, of course, they look what you call from their point for both the species organism and also for their environment in which they are living. So in this point, this both are should be protected. Okay. Did you finish from this one here, please? Okay, I'm just going to put here if you want, let me know. Okay. The ecocentric environmental ethics, called ecocentric environment. Sorry. Mental ethic. Okay. Extends. Okay. They extend moral obligation. Okay. Moral obligation beyond organisms. Okay, beyond organisms to the non-living component. To the non-living components. Okay, of the environment. Okay. And of course, in this point of view, they emphasize and emphasizes, and they emphasize okay, and emphasizes the integrity the integrity of whole nature, okay, of whole nature systems. Okay. Just try to compare, of course, between the biocentric and what you call the ecocentric. For example, okay, for example, a biocentric view okay, point of view that if a site, okay, is disturbed, okay, by, say, by mining, for example, okay, by mining, the native species, okay, the native species that had occupied the site, okay, that had occupied, uh, okay, the site, okay, before disturbance, okay, before disturbance should be restored. Okay, that is, of course, from the biocentric point of view. Of course, in case of the, I'm going to mention, of course, in case of the ecocentric, of course, you want to think also, as you do the species, they have also to prepare what you call the environment, that which is around that species, to mention this point here. By contrast, okay, by contrast, an ecocentric, okay, position would be, for example, that the entire the entire landscape, okay, should be restored. This is S, just in case of, okay, should be restored to its original form. Okay, to its original form, including okay, depth, okay, and texture of topsoil, including depth and texture of top soil. Also, at the same time, pattern of drainage means everything around that in just, okay? Patterns of the drainage, etc., drainage channels, and so forth. That means the ecocentric, as restore the species, it have to restore all the environment in which basically allow that particular organism, what you call, or needed for its survival. The final point, of course, is important to know. That's why we have all the time these type of issues on this. The last thing to mention, of course, I don't know if you heard about this person called Aldo Leopold, which has basically, it has a lot of ethics about the environment. I'm going to mention the last point here. Now, this person was Aldo Leopold, okay, which is basically from this person from 1887, his span from 19 to 1948, okay, which is basically this person as considered a major figure in environmental science. Okay. In the environmental science, as a matter of fact, okay, this person argued, okay, specifically okay, for ecocentric position. Okay, for the ecocentric position, okay, when he proposed what is known as what to call a land ethic. I need to put it down here. A land ethic. Okay. Basically, he put this, we used to have it here in the bookstore called a Sand Country Almanac. Basically, he mentioned that in his famous book, okay, which is known as, okay, this book, A Sand Country Almanac. Okay. And this one, what he put down, this Mr. Leopold, okay, wrote the following. To mention this point here, he put this one here. I think is right, okay, when it tends to preserve, okay, to preserve the integrity stability, okay, integrity, stability, and beauty. Okay, of biotic community, of the biotic community. Okay. So basically, that's his point of view, and mention it is wrong when it tend otherwise, and it is wrong okay when it tends otherwise. Okay, so by this, basically, we had what you call to have an idea about this, what you call the environmental ethics. And basically, we mentioned there are 3 points of views in this regard in the world. And of course, that also sometimes which results for us a lot of controversy between point of view. Now, of course, in addition to this, of course, also have to look about that, of course, around the earth, people also they have different culture and different religion, and that also it have also different perspective to the environment. So talk about subtitle here. Are you following me? Okay, please here. Okay, thank you. Now, I'm going to mention this one. Religious, okay, and cultural perspectives. This one here. Because really, in this case, it's very important that the culture, the education, and the is of any group, it affect very much how they look to them. To mention this point, yours always mention one, okay, one religious or one's religious beliefs, okay, and cultural background, will undoubtedly okay, will undoubtedly basically shape our or one's own particular shape called one's, of course, okay, own particular, okay, take on environment. Okay, on environment, or basically simply to mention on environmental issues. Okay. But in reality, most of the belief around the earth, different, with all different, always they mention what you call one has not to harm the environment, to mention this point here. Nevertheless, okay, nevertheless, okay, a review, okay, of belief systems, okay, a review of the belief systems, okay, around the world, okay, around the world, of course, what you call, shows that people, okay, shows that people, as a matter of fact, everywhere, everywhere, a place, in this case, value, okay, on protecting, okay, on protecting the environment. Okay, the environment. And to mention basically, and if cultures, okay, have converged, okay, have converged on the conclusion, sorry. Okay, on the conclusion that we, okay, should care, okay, for the environment, okay, for the environment. Now, in this case, basically what happened here, if all the culture, they think like this, then how we are going to explain what you call that damage occurs. So we're going to mention the viewpoint in this regard. So how do we explain in this case? How do we explain, okay, the environmental damage, okay, the environmental damage that we can see around the world. Okay. Of course, what we're going to mention about the possibility which result in this case, of course, sometimes could be ignorance, sometimes could be, okay, I'm going to give you an example of this one here. Now, in some cases, of course, going to explain some of these why it's occurring now. Now, in some cases, okay, in some cases, harm to environment, okay, harm to environment may be the result, okay, may be the result of people with a few alternatives. The result of people with a few, okay, called alternative. Okay, all alternatives, okay, trying to make a living, okay, trying, okay, to make a living, or simply, okay, trying to survive. Okay, you see this one here? It's clear, I guess. Okay, yeah. So this is basically, sometimes the harm to the environment could result from a situation like this. Sometimes could be it results for a situation basically because from incomplete knowledge, what is the impact of something, as I'm going to give you example as some occur here now. So the other point I'm going to mention to you that also environmental harm, okay, also may also result, okay, may also result from incomplete knowledge. Okay, I'm going to continue here. Do you still see this one here? Okay. Incomplete knowledge. Okay. Incomplete. And for example, Okay, for example, the manufacturers of the what you call the CFCs that basically depleted the ozone. For example, the manufacturer. This is the manufacturer here, okay? The manufacturer. Just give me a second here. I'm going to continue here, I guess. Okay. For example, the manufacturer of the called CFCs, that basically of this gas, which would make use for the fridge and so on, that have the previously that have depleted what you call the ozone layer. The ozone layer did not know okay, did not know, okay, that their products okay, that their products okay would endanger this protective layer. Okay. I think you finish on this one here, so that basically give us more to bring this one here. Okay. Endanger this protective layer. Now, of course, there are other kinds. Sometimes it could cause the environment. In other cases, for example, in other cases, okay, harm to the environment, harm to the environment, okay, results okay, from the practice okay, of pursuing economic gains, from the practice of pursuing okay, economic gain, while of course disregarding okay, the environmental impacts of that activity, disregarding the environmental okay, impacts of that activity. Okay. And now the other point, of course, what happened here, of course, sometimes one also to wait what to call to balance between how much this will cause, for example, if an action, because sometimes we become a situation and we need to balance it, how much going to cause impact to the environment and how much really is benefited to the, so we have to consider these things. So I'm going to mention this one. Okay. In addition, okay, in addition to mention that harm to one part of the environment of the environment, one harm of the environment must often be weighed, must often or often be weighed means to balance it. Okay, wait. Against the benefit against the benefit or benefits in this case, to another part of the environment. To another part of the environment, or to human also, or to balance it to human well-being. To mention or to human, we call well-being. Okay. For example, I'm going to give one of the example I'm going to give basically by using, for example, chemical pesticide or insecticide, and you have to compare it basically to weigh against the benefit from using that crop to feed people and so on. So this is another point I'm going to mention to you here. Okay, for instance, for instance, the potential harm the potential harm that say chemical insecticides that chemical insecticide may cause for wildlife. This is for wildlife. Must be weighed must be weighed against the potential to increase food supply. Must be weighed against the potential against the potential to increase food supply, or supplies in this case, supply or supplies, whatever you want to put down, or control populations of disease-carrying insect, or control populations of disease carrying insects. And that's basically in the end, of course, sometimes it really is not easy to reach to a solution when you cut something else. So final intimation in this regard, now, all right? So basically that seldom, are there simple solutions or solution to the what you call environmental problems that we face. To the environmental problem, this is F here. So the environmental problem that we face. So basically, in this section here, we talk about the cultural belief and others, and also to mention sometimes harm to the environment. It becomes basically as a hard choice, is what I could say here. Okay, but however, it is of course sometimes the solution. It could be worked out if, of course, always science and what you call balances between the need and demand and the environment could all be reached. Now I'm going to talk about another kind of subtopic, okay, to mention is basically sustainability. Sustainability, simply to make it, okay, as a pragmatic, as a pragmatic, okay, solution to environmental, sorry, pragmatic solution, okay, to called environmental wars, okay. This way, basically, we're going to use some example about what you call that, how the solution being done to the CFC guys and so on. This is okay, basically almost in 1980s to mention this. Maybe as you learned, depends really what, okay, maybe as you learned, okay, that scientists in the mid of 1980s recognized, okay, recognized that the release of this, of course, of the CS here had depleted the ozone layer, so significantly, okay, that it was, means that ozone layer, of course, that it was, okay, as if there's a hole, okay, as if a hole had formed. Okay. Now, of course, as you know, we're going to talk about basically a little bit about the impact. We're going to talk about all this later. This is all an introduction because later on we're going to talk about all these chemicals and how they interact in the stratosphere and all that with the ultraviolet and so on. We'll discuss all that later. But at the moment, just to mention this one here. Okay. Now, the amount of ozone in the stratosphere, the amount of ozone, okay, in the stratosphere, okay, is sustained. Okay, Okay, this was being sustained basically by a balance between its formation by a balance of its formation, which is basically, as I mentioned to you, he's going to mention a few lines about this, which is basically chemical reactions chemical reactions initiated by the ultraviolet light light from the sun and its destruction through a variety of processes. Through a variety of the processes, to mention, of course, now with release, of CFCs, the rate of ozone destruction exceeded its rate of formation. Exceeded its rate of formation. And that's basically when, if you remember, because that hole occurred basically on the Antarctica, resulting in the ozone hole in the ozone hole, of course, over the Antarctic. And as you know, that the ozone was very important because destruction of it, that means allow more ultraviolet to come to the earth, and basically that of course increase all the rate of cancer and so on. To mention this point here, that ozone depletion ozone depletion directly threatened human health. Human health, because as already you know, because an increase in ultraviolet or in UV, which is ultraviolet light, rays reaching Earth's surface okay, would increase the incidence of skin cancer. Increase the incident, okay, the incidence of skin cancer. Okay. Just give me a second here. Just so basically, I'm going to take, of course, it depends the balance between what you call using our the resources what we call without giving it a chance to what you call to renew. To mention here, when we use resources faster than we are replenished. To mention this point here, that when I'm going to continue when okay we use. Did you finish on this one now? Well, I'll put it back here. Seeing you finished from it. Okay, when we use, okay, just to make sure here, okay, when you use, okay, resources, okay, faster, okay, than they are replenished, okay. In this case, our societies okay, and economies are not sustainable. Okay, are not sustainable because simply as already you know that because everything we need basically it comes from the nature. And to mention this point here, because everything that a human needs sorry, because everything that a human need to survive, okay, comes from the natural environment. Okay, it comes from the natural environment. So simply, of course, as already we know, that the principle of sustainability, okay, of the principle of sustainability, okay, is about, okay, the wise, okay, it's about the wise use of resources, to ensure our ability okay, to ensure our ability to endure okay, to endure and live healthy lives. And live healthy lives, okay, and also without compromising okay, the welfare okay, of a future generation. Okay, or generations in this case. Okay. Now, to mention, for example, one of the point here, I don't know, still how about a few minutes left. For instance, or for example, okay, for instance, rather than relying or relying, okay, on non-renewable sources. Sources of energy, as you know, such as oil and gas, a sustainable strategy okay, a sustainable strategy incorporates renewable energy such as solar and wind power. Okay. Yeah, this just I think just to mention this a few lines before I would end my lecture and to see if you need anything else here. Now, for example, as the point I'm going to mention, of course, what happened with the fisheries and so on. So basically, in this case, we have also two steps to mention this. Now, when we harvest, okay, when we harvest from wild population, such as the case of fisheries, okay, or fisheries, and also forestry, also we should cautiously, as a matter of fact, we should cautiously do so, in order to allow these populations, means the wild populations, to reproduce. I think I'm going to stop my lecture here at the moment because still we are the tradition to cover many points left. A few points to cover with induction, but it's important, as a matter of fact, to have these ideas. Are you okay with the material so far?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions, please?
I just wanted to make sure we do have class next week, correct?
Say that again.
We have class next week, right?
Yes. Why we don't have a class? Because of this, what do you call, stay at home?
No. Because just on D2L, the Zoom lectures are twice a week, every 2 weeks. So there aren't classes scheduled for next week on the Zoom with D2L. Yeah.
I must be, I made a mistake then. Good to remind me. Means that the Zoom link, which is I sent it to you.
Yeah. So the next one that I have on my D2L is for the 26th, not the 19th.
Okay, thank you. You know, there is a lecture. Thank you for reminding me. Please do so, because sometimes maybe when I did the reoccurring, okay, it maybe I missed some of the data, I guess. That's all. So basically, there is no one for the whole next week?
No, not for next week. I think every 2 weeks, there's no Zoom lectures.
How did that happen? Because I did. Well, I'm going to check that one. Thank you for reminding me, actually.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Unless if there is something, no. Maybe I think I made a mistake in this case. Or I may be mixed with the dates. I don't know, really. That's very strange. Okay. But thank you for reminding me. I hope also the same thing is not happening with the ethnobotany. Okay. Thank you. Another question, please. That's it? Okay, I will send you an email with regard to our meeting with regard to what you call to the tutorial. Okay, but also as I mentioned to you, please try to think about the subject. Okay, you could change it when you are talking about. Okay, but that's what I think is a good idea to think about. I'll give you some example, and I will send you an email, and maybe I will mention also some example what already we discussed on the previous year. It may help you, and good luck. Okay. Or have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye.